Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let me get my camera operating. Let's see how we're going. There we go. Just going to turn this light off for a quick sec. Welcome. I'm here. I made it back in time, and I think I'm semi-prepared, so we're ready to go. So let's see if anyone's going to come on this morning. There's Brenda. Hello, Brenda. How are you? And Sharon. Hey, Sharon. Thank you for coming and looking after my chat here. All right. Okay, where do I start? Okay, while we're waiting for some people to come in, I will just run through some homework because there is a fair amount here. Okay, we'll just skip through all these things quickly. Obviously, bonus days is still running until the 2nd of February, and that is shop and earn a $9 coupon for every $90 you spend between the 6th of January and the 2nd of February. So we've got another week or so to go on that, a little over a week. And you can earn as many coupons as you like. You just have to be logged in with Stampin' Up! And using a valid email address, because that is how the coupons will come to you. And then save that coupon code. I've been taking photos of mine so that I know that I can go back in from the 3rd to the 28th of February and use those coupons on my order so I don't forget. Thank you, Brenda. Yes, I've got new hair. So, yes. Upcoming class info. Okay, so class info. Well, obviously, we've already done Tuesday the 13th. Saturday the 24th, this Saturday, we're having a team creative online. So those of you coming in who are in my team, remember that. It starts at 1 o'clock South Australia time. That'll be 12:30 in Queensland and 1:30 in the daylight saving states. So we will be using Brush with Beauty, but I'll put some lists up and you will be able to use whatever you have on hand, and we'll have a lovely creative afternoon. On Tuesday the 27th, I have a card making class here at home. So that is our normal Tuesday crafting day. So if you come along to those, it is next Tuesday. And then, of course, every Thursday we do my live here. Product of the month is still running for January, which is that stamp set. Give me a little hands up if you already have it for this month. It is fabulous. I say it's fabulous and I've got it here and I haven't even used it yet. Hello, Barb. I am well. How are you? So yes, but we will be using it. We will be using it. I was going to use it today, but the sentiments are a little bit too big for what I wanted to do, so we didn't end up using it. Colour Inspiration 2000, I was going to say 202 is still running. It runs until, I can't remember, but I believe it is February, early February. So you have quite a while yet if you want to create for that challenge and pop a card up in the group. That would be fabulous. What else? Obviously the new catalogue still up. Oh, brand new product coming out. So this has been released by Stampin' Up. It's a Stampin' Positioner, so it's a stamp positioner, basically. It looks very exciting. So if you are a demonstrator, you can purchase that now. So if you're already a demonstrator, you can purchase that now up until I'll be able to tell you, until the 2nd of February, you can purchase it. This is the only time that demonstrators will be able to purchase it until it becomes live sometime later in the year. So if you are a demonstrator, you can get that now. But if you're not a demonstrator and you are interested in being one, then there is a join offer going to be running from the 3rd of February to the 2nd of March. Now, normally you don't get this much notice of a join offer, but it's sort of, the news was just so exciting that it got out there. So So we have been told we can share this now, that there will be a join offer. So I'm giving you Australian figures here because I'm in Australia, but if you're in a different market, you need to have a look at what your pricing is. But in Australia, it's the regular joining offer, which is pay $169. You get $235 worth of product, free shipping, and the new stamp positioner. It's called Stampin' Positioner, free. It'll just automatically get added into your order if you join between the 3rd of February and the 2nd of March. So that's a fabulous exclusive sort of join offer. So if you are coming in here and you are not a demonstrator, when I say demonstrator, obviously you don't have to demonstrate anything. You're just joining Stampin' Up to get the discount, to get product early, to join the fabulous community. Like I'm doing that Team Creative Live on the weekend. So my team, we all get together and have a lot of fun creating together. So you get all those things if you join. There's no commitment. You can stay in as long as you like, as little as you like. No one takes anything away from you. But it is a fabulous opportunity. If you do not already have a demonstrator, if you have a demonstrator, go and talk to them here in Australia. But if you don't have a demonstrator and you're interested, definitely give me a yell and I can talk to you about that further. And that is all of my homework. Hello, Colleen. How are you? It's lovely to see you here, and I'm so sorry that you, about all the kerfuffle on Tuesday when we tried to go live. That was a bit of a nightmare. We'll come back to here. Now, we had some technology issues on Tuesday, and I noticed that you didn't come back in, Colleen, so I'm not sure if you couldn't find us or whether you just ran out of time because I spent so much time fluffing around trying to go live. All right. The homework is out of road. I hate that part. Can you tell? I rush through it and I really hate it. I really just want to get into the creating, and I'm sure you do too. So I have my desk set up. Now, as I said, I've been out this morning, so I didn't get as far prepped as I had hoped, but I think we'll be right. I'm doing a fun fold. I know. Everyone goes, oh no, Cheryl's doing a fun fold. This could be dangerous. Let's go over to my desktop. I will apologise in advance for my tummy. I am absolutely starving. Okay, so I found this little fold. It's been around forever, apparently, but I haven't done it before. So, you know, it's new to everybody. Now, my screen looks a little blurry. How does it look to you? If you might just excuse me while I just clean the camera. I'm just going to come back to me for a second. Come back to me while I clean the camera lens because I think it might be grotty. Just give that a clean and make sure that that's... Let's go back and have another look now. Does that look any better? I think it does look a little better. I think I might have I've just put some cream on my hands and I think I might have accidentally touched the camera lens and got it a bit blurry. And while I might need the Vaseline look, my cards don't. Okay, yes. Yes. Yeah, everyone loves fun folds. Thank you, Barb. It's new hair, so I'm enjoying new colour, new style at the moment. So this is the card that I've created, and it's called a corner fold card, I think. So it just goes like this. And it just opens up like that. Quite simple. Now I've used the pairs, the Painterly pairs. Now what is the stamp set called? Let me just find it. Perfectly Pairs is the stamp set. And the dies. Now in Australia, these are on the last chance list. So at the moment you can get the stamp set for $24.50 and the dies for $23.50. So they're on the last chance list. They were on the last chance list when I looked yesterday, so they're probably still on the last chance list. Yeah, I think it does too, Sharon. I was sure it was a bit blurry there. But anyway, I've used these for my prototype to make sure that it worked. We are using Lovely and Beautiful today. So this is the metric sizing, and all it is designer series paper, basically with an origami fold in the corner, and it just sits on a on a base. So it's really easy. So hopefully we can zip through it in, it's not like I've got to do anything intricate. It's quite easy. And then you just decorate this front panel how you like. So I have, let's see if I can get a better angle on these lights. Better. I've finally got to use these little corner bits. Now I'm doing something slightly different in the card we're making today, so you'll be able to let me know which you prefer. But that was just the pears made into that little corner fold. Great way to use up your designer series paper. So now I have done another one in the Lovely and Beautiful, which is this one. So we're using that flower, and again we're using the little corners, but you can see they're a lot more easier to see in this one because I've done a little bit of inking underneath. So this one is the same thing, opens up. I haven't put anything on the inside of this one because I ran out of time, but it's quite a simple little card. The only thing that I will say is that it doesn't stand up very well. So when you display it, you're going to have to lean it against something. Otherwise it doesn't stand on its own, this one. And you know that I'm a bit of a fussy thing for that. But I suppose what you could do, and I didn't think about this, is you could actually put this on a folded card. And then it would probably stand, but it would probably pull it over anyway. But you could put it on a folded card, so you would open it like that. You could decorate the inside, put a little sentiment on there, and then open it out to write on the inside. I've just put a panel on the back for writing on. You could also write on here. On this one, I would probably stamp a sentiment on here and then leave my writing for the back. So that is what we're doing. Now I have started one in Imperial as well, and again I will have all the measurements in a PDF which will go out in my newsletter. So if you haven't signed up for that, I put a link in the video comments below. I had quite a few people sign up recently. So what I did was I went through and I collated the 3 tutorials that I've already put up, the 3 weeks I've already put up, and sent those out again just to those people who've signed up recently. And I'll probably do that every now and then, because if you see this at a later date and sign up, obviously that tutorial will have already been sent out. But I can easily send it to you if you just let me know. All right, so let's get started. Now, with the Imperial card, I have already done some of it. So I'll show you that one as we go along. And I've got all of the measurements here. So if you do want to jot these down as we go, you can. But I haven't got them in the description. I may actually even add them to the description, we'll see, but I will definitely be doing tutorials on them. So you want to start off with a piece of designer series paper. Now I've got the Lovely and Beautiful. This one I used Painterly Pears. This one is the Lovely and Beautiful, and I've used that sort of tiled look with the green on the back. So whatever you show, you need to decide what you're going to show on the front and what you're going to show on the inside. So with this one, I wasn't quite sure whether I would do the checks on the outside or the flowers on the outside, but I think I'll do the flowers on the outside because that paper is just so pretty. It's got little gold bits in it. I have cut this too. Are you ready? The DSP is 17 centimetres across by 21.3 centimetres down. In Imperial, that is 6 3/4 inches by 8 inches. So that's what you start with. Then you will need your trimmer with a scoring blade in it. And we are going to decide if you've got a pattern, like with the pears, the pattern definitely runs a certain way. Not that you can really see much of it, but you can see that it sort of runs up this way. So put the orientation. This one doesn't matter. The Lovely and Beautiful sort of doesn't have an up and down orientation. But if you do have paper that has an orientation, put it so that this is how you will see it. This is how you want it to go up. Then flip it over. So we're going to work on the back side. You want the short side at the top or the bottom of the trimmer, or on your measurements, however you do that. I've got embossing powder everywhere for some reason. So put it on the short side, and we are going to, so that's the 17 centimetre or the 6 3/4 inch side, and we are going to score it at 7 centimetres or 2 3/4 inches. So because I'm working in metric, I'll do 7 centimetres or 2 3/4 inches. And I'm just going to score that. Now, being designer series paper, you want to be a little bit careful. Don't just barge in and score it really hard, or it will go through your paper. These specialty type papers do tend to be a little bit thicker, I think because they've got those things like gold on them that make them a little bit thicker. All right, so then once you've got that score line, you want to flip it around to the left, or what is this? Anti-clockwise. Something on there, get rid of that. And you want to do the same measurement again, so 7 centimetres or 2 3/4 inches. And again, sort of lightly score it. And that is it for scoring. So then who's made one of these before? Who is this old hat to? Some of you girls who've been around a long time have probably done this before. Now you want to bring this over towards you, and we're going to bend it where those score lines meet. I don't know if you can see that point there? So you want to bend it over sort of there until the score lines meet each other. So that way you'll know you've got it square. You can push it, pull it towards you or push it back, but just make sure that those score lines here and here and here and here match up. And then give it a press, and you'll need a bone folder. Not that bone folder, obviously. It's gone away somewhere under the table there. And just score it down. That nice and easy so far? Maybe everybody's scribbling down their measurements. Flip it over and bend it backwards on itself, like that. And then I forgot to tell you, you also need to score, so we're working on this side, score those other fold lines as well. You should do that before you do the folding, I guess. All right, so then once you've done that, because we've folded it back this way, the folds are now facing their mountain folds. So when you fold it up, you should be able to grab those two folds, pull them in together, and you automatically make that little square bit on the corner. So they should meet down here if we've done everything properly. We should meet down there, and then just press it down, make sure it all lines up, and give it a nice burnish. And that's the base of the fold. So that's pretty easy. Now it's just adding all the other bits. So we're going to adhere this to a base. Now I've pulled out Peach Pie because that's sort of this colour here. I could have gone with a contrast. I could have used Fresh Freesia or Calypso Coral, and they would have looked equally as good because they're the colours in the paper. And that's going to go onto your just a single card base. So this is your standard card base. It's 10.5 by 14.8 or 4.25 by 5.5. And so this goes onto here with a nice little border around there. And we can go ahead and glue that on. Now I have brand new glue today. Sharon, are you still there? If you can just give me a thumbs up. It's just that the chat has stopped and I'm worried that it's dropped out and I'm just chatting to myself. All right, so I'm going to adhere this. To that single flat piece. Yes, great, thank you. All right, so we're going to flip this over. Try not to get glue everywhere, but you'll just need to line that up on your back panel. So I guess nobody's made this one before. everywhere. To get a new bottle of glue, and it's always didn't get very straight there. I'm just trying to straighten it up a little bit. It goes very wayward and I get glue everywhere. I need to fill up my glue press, would be the sensible thing to do. All right, so that's where we're now. We've got a bit of sturdiness in our back piece. Now the back piece does have the white piece and a strip, so I might stamp on that yet, so I'll leave that to see how much time we have. But if we open it up, we need to give this piece here some rigidity, because that is where the little panel sits on the front. So you want to give it some rigidity for this to hold, because we're putting quite a bit of stuff on there. So we're going to put a little panel like this on the inside. So you will need a piece of cardstock in the same colour as your base, or you could use a different colour if you like, up to you. But anyway, a piece of cardstock. Measurement for that one is 6.7 by 6.7 square, or 2 5/8 of an inch by 2 5/8 of an inch square. And then you need a piece of designer series paper. Now I have gone for a totally different pattern. So the one that we used has the peach pie check on one side, and then it has this fabulous floral design on the other side. I've chosen another design. It's got the Calypso coral on the back, but I'm going to put the floral piece up in the corner here. It's very similar, just doesn't have the fresh freesia colours in it, but it's similar, but it's pretty. And the reason that I'm using this one and not a piece that's the same as this, although you certainly could, is because there's some other pieces that I'm going to put on here which are going to coordinate, and I'm going to use the reverse side, the Calypso coral side, on those pieces. So just set those aside for a minute and we'll do this piece. You don't need to do anything else to this except glue it together. So we'll do that. Hello, Monica. How are you? Barb hasn't made it before, and Brenda hasn't made it before either. Oh, I'm glad that I'm showing you something new. It's really simple. I'm doing a fun fold, Monica. I know it's very highly unusual for me, but I have chosen probably the most simple fun fold in the world. It is a corner. Now I did know the name of it. I didn't write it down, but I did know that it's a corner fold card. I'm sure there's another word in there. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, we'll call it the corner fold card. But as I said, sometimes the ones that don't stand up on their own, I tend to shy away from, but you know, it doesn't really matter. It's still lovely to receive, and it's very pretty. So this one just gets glued up in the corner here. And I've taken the measurements quite close to the edge because it's designer series paper, and I wanted to reduce the risk of it getting bent and crumpled. So this got quite a fine border. Just make sure that is glued down. Now you might want to continue to, as we work on it, just burnish that so that it sits nice and flat when it comes to be finished. It will have a big heavy front on it, so that will help it sit flat. I don't know where I'm getting all these little bits of glue from. They're everywhere. Okay, so now the other bit is the bit that goes on the inside. Now originally this had white down here, and I didn't, we'll just put this in here, and I didn't like the white showing. This fits in here like this. And then there was a white bit, and then the bit we're going to colour up or decorate sat on here. I mean, that looks okay, I guess, because it matches in with the white there. But I don't know, it distracted me. It sort of took away the balance or something. So I actually added a strip of paper, and I'm going to use the reverse side of the bit we put up in the top here. And I've made it wide enough to fit in here so that, oops, I'm not going to put it in now because I may stamp in there if we get time. I keep knocking that off. But anyway, it sits so that when it's closed up, it sits like that. Now it still has a few different patterns in there. Like this one has the green and then the floral. But I just think it looks better than the white for me anyway. So that's what I've run with. With the pear one, I bought the petal pink paper in. You can see I've stamped in there, nice and simple. And I don't know, I just think it looks a bit better than just the white because we've got so much going on the front here. All right, so that's where we're up to there. So I'll just leave these bits for the moment in case we decide to stamp on them. Oh, I wanted to show you, we could have used this paper, but because it's so similar to the other one, it looks a bit weird, I thought. So that's why I flipped it over and I'm going to use the contrast of the Calypso Coral. Now, with the Imperial, that's sort of where I got up to with the Imperial. Now I'm doing the similar paper in the Imperial with the peach pie, and we'll have the contrast of the Calypso Coral. So there's all my bits ready for the inside. I'll put those up there. So we're at the same point here. But you can see I've used the different design with the petal pink on the inside for this one. So all those measurements that I gave you, that's what it looks like when that one's made up. Now, we haven't done the back, so I don't need to give you those yet. But this front little panel that goes on here, this one I've already started and I've lost it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so that's that one. So I've got to this stage with the Imperial, and I'll give you the measurements. So the measurements for the matting layer, so that's this layer around the outside. So let me get them right here, find the right piece. So the matting layer on the front is 7.4 centimetres by 11.7 centimetres. In the Imperial sizing, it's 2 3/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so sing out if anyone needs me to repeat these if I'm saying them too quickly. If you're writing them down as I go, because the tutorial normally takes me a few days to get ready and get out. You've made these before, Monica? Excellent. Yeah, anyone, it's been around a long time. So you like the strip underneath? Yeah, I like the strip underneath too. So I'm going to, for my stepped up card, I'm going to distress the edges of this piece. I haven't distressed the edges on the easy card. In fact, the easy card's a bit of a misnomer because I think there's only 2 steps that I left off for the easy card, but you know. So I'm just using my paper snips and I'm going to rough the edges up a bit. Now, if you were doing the Imperial card, you may want to make the white layer a little bit smaller because you can see that's quite a close border on that one, and once you distress it, you're going to lose a lot of that. So you might want to make the card a little smaller. Remove all the bits. Okay, so that one is going to be distressed and this one is not. The white panel, the piece of white, okay, is 7 by 11.3 in the metric. In the Imperial, it is 2.5 by 4. I think 2.5 by 4 gives you a smaller piece. So let me just check that because I think I made it a bit bigger. Where's my ruler? Because it was a very large border. So, okay, so I might just make a little note on this so when I go to do the tutorial, I remember. The 2.5 by 4 inches is if you are going to distress the edges. If you're not going to distress the edges, then make your white piece 4 1/8 high, 4 1/8, and across is 2 5/8. I'm getting so much better at my fractions. Right. So that's just if you are not going to distress your edges, make that white bit that little bit bigger. So then I went ahead and for my stepped up card, not for this one, but for my, I'm not pushing everything out of the road because for my stepped up card I did some splattering. So just going to get some scrap paper. And I need to decide what colour I'm going to splatter with. I think I will splatter with, I think I'll splatter with Calypso Coral. That might be interesting. Hey, let's have a little look. I've got Calypso Coral ink. Got a little tiny block here. Put some ink on there. Grab my water painter. I've got the medium-sized one, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of water out of my jar, pop it down here, and squish it all around. I've got it nice and juicy, so it's going to make a big splatter. So I don't want too much of a big splatter, so we'll just do it. Oh, it's not too bad. Now don't stress too much because, excuse me, a lot of this will be covered. I just love the splatter in the background. Brush off, get rid of this inky, messy block. And that will just take a little minute to dry. While that's drying, you would go ahead and die cut some... I've got things everywhere because I came back from the doctor and I just threw things in a box to clear off my desk. So this is the Beautifully Celebrated dies, and I've been dying to use this decorative corner. So I'll just put that on the road. So you would die cut that out of white, just plain white cardstock, and I have already done that. I did get some things done ahead of time. So it's the one die, but it cuts out the two pieces. So that's what it cuts out, like that. we're back. It says we're back. Okay, are we back now? I think what I did was, I can see why people have their microphones mounted up high in front of them, because the cord for it hangs down, and every time I must have moved something on the desk and pushed the cord just a little bit. Sorry about that, ladies. I have no idea how far back we went, but you saw what I was doing there, hopefully. Yes. Cool. Beautiful. So yeah, you could see that I put the ink behind using that little stencil. Let's get this out of the road now. And then put the little corner pieces over the top so that you can see some of that colour coming through, which is what I did on this one. And see, I put fresh freesia behind there. And I've also done it on this, because it was such a great effect, I've also done it on the simple one, although it doesn't have the splatter. So I've left off the distressed edges and I've left off the splatter. And I think they're about the only things I left off the simple card. Okay. All right, so this can now go onto here. And I'm thinking I maybe should not have used Calypso Coral as my splatter. It's looking a bit strange. Luckily, most of that will be covered by our gorgeous big flower. All right, here we go. Pop that down onto there. So now this is going to sit on here. So now we need to do our flowers. Let's get those out of the road. So I have already heat embossed a flower. And I don't know why, but I was in a big rush when I got home, and I did this when I got home, and I pulled out the hugest piece of card in the world to emboss my flower onto. So I am going to cut that down a little bit, because I'll probably use some of these other bits for some die cutting. I don't know what I was thinking. I just was in a bit of a rush. Anyway, we are going to colour these with our blending brushes. We need to decide on what colour. This one was the fresh freesia around the outside, and then I added the Calypso Coral in the centre, and that's to pick up on just these little touches of Calypso Coral on the paper on the inside. So I think with this one, we will still use the Calypso Coral, but I'm not going to use the fresh freesia because there's only little touches of fresh freesia. I think I'll use Petal Pink and Peach Pie with Calypso Coral in the centre. So we'll go ahead and grab our Peach Pie. I did have Calypso Coral. What was this one? What was that one? Peach Pie? Yes, Peach Pie. We'll put some Peach Pie under here. We'll need a little bit of Calypso Coral. Don't need too much of that one. And we'll need a little bit of Petal Pink. All toning colours, so it'll be a toning flower. Got blending brushes for those colours here, and I had the Petal Pinks, the Peach Pie, sorry, somewhere. Here we go. So we'll start with the Petal Pink. Now, do I need to zoom you in? Just because I can. Let's zoom you in just because I can. Where's my camo window? Zoom, zoom, zoom. How's that? I just have to remember that you're zoomed and take you off zoom when I'm done. So I'm going to pick up some of the Petal Pink, take off the excess, and just start in the middle. Now, I'm not worried about going over the edge. In fact, I want to go over the edge. Otherwise, you don't see the edge of the flower if you don't take it to the edge, and I do want to see the edge of the flower when it's die cut. So this is a really easy way to colour this flower. So we'll just add some Peach Pie to start with. Most of that will be covered, but it just gets down a light layer of ink. Actually, I'll take that right to the edge. See, that's so pretty just on its own. Looks very yellow on my screen, but it is very orangey, salmony coloured. I don't know what it looks like on your screen. Yellow from what I'm looking at. But it's not. It's a salmon pinky colour. It's very petal pink. So now let's bring in the peach pie. Take the excess off. And again, I'm just sort of rotating. I'm going to push that colour out towards the edges a bit. And I'm sort of looking at where these bigger petals are and just doing a little bit of shading, albeit very rough shading, with my peach pie. So I'll leave the edges in the petal pink. Where I've missed the outline, I will need to come back in and make sure that they show. Okay. I don't know why my computer is dinging because I have Do Not Disturb on. I apologise for that. You set a reminder and it didn't remind me. It was from showing the corner dies. Yeah, hopefully you got the idea there, what I did. All right, so now I've added the peach pie, so it's quite dark in the centre, but I can still see the petal pink around the edge. I'm not sure if you guys can because it all looks yellow on my screen here. And then we're going to add the very dramatic Calypso Coral in the centre. So we need to be quite careful with this one. So we'll take off most of the excess to start with and then just very lightly apply that to the centre, like that. Now I do want it to look like the Calypso Coral in the Designer Series paper, so make sure that I do get that. Then just, what I'm doing is, I don't know if you can see, but what I'm doing is I'm starting with a bit of firmer pressure in the middle, and then as I bend out, the brush is barely touching the paper so that it's just a very, very light blend out. And so that is my flower pretty much done. Now, what I did think when I did the other one on this card is that it did need some more definition in the petals. So I will grab my heap of Stampin Blends over here. So I'll grab light peach pie. Yes, I think we'll use light peach pie. I'll drop those down there. Oops, look out, mouse. I have to be careful because the mouse is here. I don't want to turn you off. That wouldn't be good. Thank you, Brenda. Okay, so we'll see how dark this is. No, it's not that dark. So we're just going to fill in any of these little flippy over leaves that don't have any colour in them. That one already has lots of colour, so does that one. But we'll add some more. This one. And then I want some more definition in these outer petals, so I'm very gently and very lightly just going to add a little bit into the corners. Now these ones that already have some colour in are great. These ones that don't have any or much colour in them, you just need to be a bit careful with them. You just want the slightest little touch of colour. And I'm just sort of stroking it out so that it doesn't end up in a solid line. Now this will fade back. I mean, on this one, you can hardly tell. There's just a few little darker areas, but you can hardly tell that I've gone in and added that colour because it does fade back. So if you're thinking, oh, I've made a big mistake here, which believe me, I did, it does fade back, and I will show you what else I did just to help that colour fade back a little. So I'm just adding just little bits, just little touches of shading. Then if I thought it was too heavy, I've come in with my colour lifter. Now you have to be careful because I don't know how many of you use colour lifter a lot, but it will, we're working on water-based ink, and if you're too heavy-handed with it, it will act like a watercolour and it will start to leach into the ink colour underneath, and you'll end up with a watercolour look line. So you need to start here and just flick it out just a little bit, and it doesn't look like it's doing anything, but don't be fooled, because it is. And if you continue to think it's not doing anything, I'm going to keep working it, you will end up with a bleached out area. Just a couple of strokes. Don't worry too much about where the darker colour is, because that will leach that out. And it's very subtle. See, I've got some lines here that I don't really like, so just do that. And it will work, it will bleed. You might not see it straight away, but if you come back later, you will see that it has bleached that colour out. And I'm actually going to take a bit of colour out of here, just because it looks a little bit dark. That one there. So now we're going to die cut that. So I'll grab the die, which is over here in my little bowl. And you might not be able to see on screen the actual edges of the flower, but once we die cut it, I just got to work out which way it goes. That way? Yes. I'll grab a little bit of tape. Tape that on. And actually, before I run that through, I will take the ink off the top of the embossing so it doesn't get on my plate. Not only does that make that middle bit pop a lot more, but it will take the ink off that might get on your cutting plate in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I just line that up. It does have a border that goes around the edge. Run that through. Oops. Now I've obviously got a dirty plate. Just get rid of those little flecks, and there we have our flower. Wow, it does look yellow on my screen here. I hope it looks better on your screen because it's not that yellow. So let's see what this is going to look like so far. Okay, so that ties in pretty well. Now we need to do some foliage, and we need to try and bring in some of these colours from the designer series paper. So the leaves are going to be old olive with a touch of something else, and we'll do some fresh freesia. So we will need, because I haven't die cut these yet, so I'll bring my little box of goodies over. We're going to use some dies from the two different sets. So the leaves come out of the Simply Beautiful. Just bring them over. Oh dear. Everything's out of their packets. The leaves come out of the Simply Beautiful, and what I call the sticky bit. The sticky bit comes out of the Beautifully Celebrated dies. So you can use dies from any of the sets. I'm just using these ones because I can, but also what I'm using is this flower center, which is this bit. This makes amazing fluffy stuff to go in your floral bouquets that you're creating. I've used it a few times now, and it just adds that little extra touch. That's perfect. So we will go ahead and, where are those bits of card that I cut off? We'll go ahead and die cut these just out of white. So we'll need a couple of, we'll just need the 3 leaves, but we'll need a couple each of these, this one and the sticky one. So I'll just quickly run those through. Sorry, I did mean to get these die cut before I started, but I ran out of time. just do this little one again. And this one. But we only need the 3 of the actual leaves. I'll just put these dies back in their little bowl. Can't remember who it is that I saw puts everything in a little bowl and then sorts it out at a later date. I thought, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to cope with that. They need to go back in their boxes straight away. But I'm thinking it might be a good idea because it's been so easy to find them when I know that they're just in the little bowl. So there you go. Oh, no. I need these 2 again, don't I? This one and this one. Where's that other piece of card? Let's take another this one. I think I need new embossing plates. These ones are well past their prime. Wendy, have you used your machine yet? Wendy got a new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. How exciting is that? Okay, now I'm not, it looks like, looking at the time, that I'm not going to get the Imperial one finished, but it is exactly the same process for the front because we've already done all of the different sizes, the background bits. Now, I've got all my Stampin' Blends out here, so we need the leaves to match in with the old olive. Now, I don't know, I've got to get new old olive blends. Mine look a little weird. So what have I got here? It is easier to use your brush end when you're colouring dies, I think, anyway, laying it on its side, but for some reason this brush end is pretty knackered, although it's not too bad. It's got lots of ink in there, it's just that the brush is a bit knackered. I've obviously done something I shouldn't with it, so we'll add a little bit of the old olive just all over it. See, I'm really not very neat. I don't want solid colour, I want some texture. Then we'll come in with the dark. And I'll just use the regular end here. Add a little bit of colour. See how dark that is? It's nowhere near as dark. The ones in the DSP are nowhere near this dark. So we'll just add a little bit, just a random touch. And you're probably thinking they look awful, and they do. That's right. Blends are great because they blend in. So it can look as awful as you like. Now I'm going to come in with, believe it or not, some cloud cover. I'm going to try and change the tone a little bit, add a little bit more blue into this green. And this is where I'll do the blending of all those scratchy bits. So just quickly, the cloud cover's nice and juicy. I'm using the bullet end on this one because I want to blend those bits. So I want to give it a little bit of pressure and blend all those pieces in. This is giving me a variegated sort of leaf, which is similar to what these leaves are. They're very variegated. It's a very light old olive in the designer series paper here. So we'll just add that blue in over the top. And then because they look a little bit blue, this is a lot of work for 3 little leaves, isn't it? I'm going to add a little bit of, this is light granny apple green. Just to jazz up that green a little bit. So now we've created a whole new colour. I don't know what it's called, but it is more similar to these leaves now than the straight granny apple green was. Now these 2 sticky things are what we're going to make purple, so we'll need our fresh freesia. And we'll use the light. So what's the end look like on this one? Not too bad. Now, fresh freesia in the blends, when you put it down, doesn't look like fresh freesia. It looks like a pink, but it turns purple. I don't know how that works, but it does turn purple. It definitely looks very pink when you start to put it down. Inks are funny. They all have their own little quirks and personalities. Now we come in with the dark, and even though I'm really just covering most of it over, I could have just done the dark to start with, but having the light underneath means that if you miss any areas, it just looks a bit toned. So that looks, I'm just going to give that a second to see how it tones down in colour. Because at the moment it's not looking very fresh freesia. Mottled. Right. So I think it will tone down because these ones did. These ones went back to a very, see how dark they went? So they do, it does change colour. I'm just going to do the ends over the top. A few more layers, darken them up just at the ends here. Oops. And then we had those white ones. Now I'm going to leave those little white fluffy ones white, and we're going to make a decision whether we use white or whether we use some that I have got that I did earlier that are gold. Because I thought gold might look nice. So I've got some gold ones that I had done earlier, and I've cut them in half. For me, they work better if you cut them in half. You have and you love it? That's excellent. Excellent. I'm glad to hear. It's always exciting when you get something brand new, especially when it's a major purchase like a die cut machine. Right, so we've got to make some decisions. So let's bring this in over here. And these are going to tuck in. This is going to go sort of like this. Purple's going to tuck in underneath there. Am I still on screen? Yes, good. This one can tuck in something like that. And then we will put a bit of greenery here and some greenery down here. And so get ready to tell me what you prefer. So we could go with the white. I'll do the top in white and the bottom in gold, and we'll see what we like better. Which one's that one? We need this one. So we've got the little white pieces. They're very subtle, so you can hardly see them on here. I did try the gold, but I liked the white on this one because it was, the colours were so soft. I thought the white looked better. But this one's got a lot of gold in it, so the gold might suit. So let's put the gold down the bottom here. I'll just tuck them in underneath so they just stick out. I love these little fluffy things. Love them. So we've got white at the top and gold at the bottom. I do quite like the gold. Let's have a look on top of here. Because this has got gold in it, little specks of gold. So on this particular one, what do you think? I actually quite like the gold. You can hardly see the white on this one. So I'm thinking that we might go with gold. What do you reckon? With gold on this one? And then we can put some gold in the centre of the flower and that will match it all in. So while you're making a decision, I'll just put this down here. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I will need some white card. Do I have any spare bits? I have to use that very big long bit. Oh. I've got a bit here. Just cut this off. Sentiment-wise, I put thinking of you on this one. The other one that fits out of this set is Simply the Best. I love that one, Simply the Best. I don't know where it is. It's here somewhere. Here it is. We might use Simply the Best on this one. It's a similar thing, part block, part script. So I'll just grab a block. And we will stamp this. Now I'm going to stamp it in Peach Pie, which is quite light, but I wanted to keep, I don't want the sentiment to overpower the flower because it's going to sit on top of the flower. So we'll use Peach Pie. Gold, 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 gold. Great. I'm glad we're all thinking the same this morning. Yeah, it really gets lost in this one, whereas on the other one it stood out much better. The gold was too brash. All right, Simply the Best. Hopefully this stamp's right. Simply the Best. Nice and easy. I'm just going to fussy cut that, but I will do part of it on my trimmer. Oh, I've got a lot of room here. Let me move some stuff out of the road. Bring the trimmer in, and I may need to just zoom you out a fraction because you won't see that otherwise. There we go. How's that? So I'm going to cut where the Simply the is, glue all over my trimmer. And I'm going to just cut that with the trimmer. I'm going to try and line it up. It's pretty hard, but I think last time I did this I ended up having to cut it by hand anyway, but it gives you a starting point. Yeah, because it's crooked. I didn't line it up, so I'll still have to cut it by hand, but that'll be okay. We'll have a starting point, and I'll try and get this side straight. Lift that up. Could do this by hand. Would be probably just as easy. Fiddle, filling around everywhere. All right, let's fussy cut this bit. So we'll try and keep that straight, and then we'll just do a little bit of a wiggle woggle at the end here. I did this on thick. Okay, I'm just going to come down here because I know that I have to trim this one up because it's crooked. I don't know how I'm going to do that because it's on my wrong hand. I have to come down here. Okay, straighten that up. Now, sometimes it's easier to turn it over where you can't see the words and straighten it up that way. I've got a little bit of a burr there. Let's get rid of that. It's because it's on the thick cardstock. It doesn't work as well. And then it's much easier to fussy cut out of regular cardstock. I don't know what I've done there. I need my ribbon scissors. I think they are a little bit sharper. Oh yes. There we go. Let's get rid of that burr. So there, our sentiment is ready to go. So now we've decided on the gold, so we can stick all this together, get rid of the white ones. And I'm going to use that, oh dear, that silicone mat with the glue all over it that I've just thrown everything on top of. Right, bit of glue. So let's see if I can remember where all these went. I put the other one on just with the glue, just like out of the bottle, and I ended up with glue absolutely everywhere. So we'll try and be a little bit more circumspect here, especially using the gold foil. I don't know what I'm doing, but anyway, we better check that that's where the flower's going to go. Yeah, that'll be good. Where's another gold one? Oh, I'm talking to myself, sorry. I've gone into, I forget I'm live mode, and I'm just chatting to myself. Now, this one. And then the little green leaf just ties it all together. Tuck that in there. So I don't put glue on the ends because I quite like them to look a bit fluffy. So all these things are loose. Oh, bottom bits. Gold one. Yeah, we need another gold one. Running out of glue. Let's try and use up all this leftover glue, shall we? Still managed to get glue all over my fingers. Where's this flower going to go? I have to just make sure that all these ends are underneath the flower so they don't, all these ends. And it's my tummy saying, feed me, feed me. Okay, there we go. And just like these to be on a different angle. I've got 2 green leaves to put in here somewhere as well. So let's put some glue on these. And this one. Oh, I'm going to cover up a lot of the gold there. Oh, well. That's the way it goes in the big city. Okay. Now you can see I'm not, most of the splatter, that's one of my hairs there, that's now stuck in the card. It's not golden retriever hairs, it's my hair. We both shed, we all shed, not both, there's 3 of us. Most of the splattering will be covered, so you really only see a little bit of the Calypso coral in there, and it looks a lot better now. I'm happier. Need to go, Cheryl? Yes, no worry. Hubby just walked in for lunch. That's fine. I wish my hubby was coming home for lunch. That would be nice, but he's back at work now. So I know the girls miss him being here. They spend a lot of time with Duncan when he's home, but he does take them for walks and stuff, and I'm not so good at that. Right. I feel I've missed something and I can't quite think what it is. So you just have to be careful, and I haven't even checked that your dimensionals don't show. Oh, they don't, lucky. From behind. This shows when you flip it up. And then my little sentiment is just going to go on here flat. So we'll glue that on. Now, how much will sit off the edge? The best. So we'll do this bit, and then I'll put a little dimensional under the end bit. So we're down there like that. Make sure that's straight. Is that straight? And then I've got this bit. I'm just going to tuck a mini dimensional underneath there. That. Now I'm going to put this on the card because I'm going to do something to the centres. Hopefully, I'll check it. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So let's grab the card wherever I put that. Yeah, this one. And you've got to glue that in the centre onto this square. So the way that I did it was that I just put a little bit of glue in, just double checking, seeing that I'm alive, this corner. And then a little bit on this corner here. Oh, I'm a bit worried that might be too much and it'll squish out. So I'm just going to get a piece of card and I'm going to smooth that out just a little bit. Because if it squishes out, it'll get on the card underneath, it'll glue it all together and it won't open. This bit doesn't matter so much because it's up the top. So now hopefully they'll meet when I put them down and there won't be too much without glue. So we'll just line this up in the centre. It is way easier to do this before you put the inside piece on. Just saying. Because it's a visual thing with so many layers in here that it gets really hard to line it up in the centre. Now I'm just going to get a large block and hold that down. How are we going for time? 12:29. We're a little bit over. That's right. We're always a little bit over. So I'm not going to colour up the other flower, but I am going to try and give you the measurements for the back and the side. I'm just going to grab a stamp of some sort. What will we use? Beautifully Celebrated has some cute little like standalone type stamps that I think will go quite well. We'll try this one, shall we? This one. I haven't used this one before. Oh, we could always use that texture. I forgot about that texture. Thank goodness I forgot about that texture. It's another one of those things that's going to get used on every project. Let me find a block. Oh, what will fit that one? This is a weird size stamp, this one. Now we only want the top, so I'm just going to put it on there like that. It doesn't quite fit, hangs off the edge a bit, but we only want the top, so that will be fine. So we'll just grab the inside piece and the back piece. So I didn't give you those measurements, did I? So the back piece is just your standard first layer. So the basic white is 10 by 14.3 or 4 by 5 1/4. That's pretty simple. And then I did cut a strip of the designer series paper that I put on the inside, and you can either put it, I think I'll put the pattern on the outside. So we'll just put the pattern, but that's just a strip. I think it was 2 centimeters by the height 14.3. So that was a nice easy one, but I do want to stamp a little image on there. For the inside, the matching layer was in metric 9.4 by 13.7, In Imperial, that comes to 3 3/4 across by 5 inches down. And then the white piece just goes in on the top. That is 9 by 13.3, or in the Imperial is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So I'm just going to do some stamping, and I'm going to stamp in. Oh, will that look funny in peach pie? Should I do it in? I don't have a green out, so we'll have to do it in peach pie. I don't know where peach pie is. It's disappeared. Peach pie, where are you? It's probably sitting right here in front of me, is it? No, it's underneath my magic bowl. So we could do green, but I don't have green out. So we're just going to do the same colour as the card. So on this one, the paper will be mostly on this side because I've cut a strip. Oh, I forgot to tell you that bit. I have cut a strip to fit in there of this same paper, but I'm going to put the Calypso Coral side up. And so that one was 3 centimetres by 13.3, which is the height of the white card, or 1 inch, just 1 inch by 4 3/4. So that will go down there, so the stamp can just come in from the edge like that. And the same at the top. And then you can add another little sentiment in the middle. This has got simply the best on the outside, so you could put thank you or whatever you want on the inside. I usually do that later. It's got some little flowers on it, so you could colour those with your peach pie Stampin Blends, and I will do that too, but I'll probably do that later. I'm running out of time, so this one can go onto here, this little one, and I'll keep the floral side up for that one, I think. Oh, so we can just go down here. Actually, we might put it up this way. Those little cute little flowers at the bottom. Now it looks like a sun in the sky. There we go, that's going to go on the back. We'll glue this one together, so this one can go onto here. We'll just pop that down there. And it is thick, but it is that thick for a reason, so that none of the white shows when you close it up. Pop this one down onto here. And then they're right to go on here, which should be dry now. So this one fits nicely just in here. So we're going to have it so that just a little bit of the pattern shows. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different thingies going on there. But now when you fold that up, that's what it looks like. So that card just comes to underneath there so you can't see it. Now on the Imperial one, I'm pretty sure that it just goes just past there. So not a lot of leeway, but it should all come together. You could make it a little bit wider if you wanted to, but I don't think I've put any of those bits together, but we could try it on the other one. This just goes on the back. But yes, this will look quite nice with the little flowers coloured in the peach pie Stampin' Blend. And then let me have a look. I pulled out on this one, I don't know if you can see it. See the little dots in the middle? They are those enamel effects that Stampin' Up did sell for a while, and I've got them sitting there and I've hardly used them, and I thought I'm going to pull them out and use them, and they go really well in the center of the flower. Now, I also did color the little end bits with fresh freesia. So in this instance, I'm going to use the Calypso Coral Stampin' Blend in the light. I've got light Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to color maybe dark. I'll just grab the dark one. Can't really see it. It's just tiny little dots in the middle. Oh yes, in the middle of these little, but look how different it makes it look. And it's all these tiny little things that you add into a card that make a difference. Now I just want to see what this gold one looks like, whether it's shiny enough to go in the center. Now with this stuff, I'm just going to zoom you in a fraction again. I'm really liking this little zoomy thing. Works quite well. Okay, let's see. You've got they make what I call little, like the tops on a cake. See how they sit up like that? But they do settle down. So you don't try and mess with that, because that's when it spreads and turns into a bit of a mess. So you just need to get your little, it's not focusing very well. Get your little, why isn't it focusing at all? There we go. Get your, oh, because I flip it. So yeah, it makes a little icing daub type thing, and then it settles down on its own. So don't be tempted to try and push it down. So that gold is pretty good, I think. So we'll use this gold in the middle, and I'm just going to do 5 little, 1. So I pull it up, makes a big long streak. But you don't want those to touch each other, because they'll all join together and make one big solid mass of gold, and that's sort of not what we want. So there's just 5 little things. Now if you don't have this stuff, then just use the smallest adhesive embellishments that you have and put maybe 3 in the center. Ooh, and that takes a little while to dry. So don't touch it. So there we go. So the Imperial one, I'm just going to clean some space off here. Where's all my Imperial bits? I don't know. Up here. Just don't put them in my gold. You can see there's 2 joining together. I got too close. So this bit sits on top. You would do exactly the same with your flower. It is slightly smaller, so your flower is going to come right up close. And this is why I wanted to do one, here's the die. I wanted to do one live or beforehand, but when it sits on here, it's going to come just over your little edgy bits, because this is a shorter piece of card to go on this shorter cardstock. So you can either, if you want to show an edgy bit, you could pull it down further, maybe pull it up higher and put your sentiment down lower. But you will need to tuck your fluffy bits in a little bit further. So just be aware of that that's a slightly smaller piece. Otherwise, make it bigger. You could make it bigger, I guess. It's just going to cover up a lot of this here. So this sits on the inside and looks like this. This is where it becomes tricky, designing and changing the sizes to suit the different card sizes. Sometimes they work really well on one and sort of on the other. So that will sit there. There'll be a little border of peach pie, and you can see that just comes to the edge. So, you know, whether you make that a little bit bigger or not, but then you're taking up a lot of your inside space. So, and then this one will sit on top. And then all your flower and your fluffy bits and your sentiment go on top of there like that. Okay, so that's the Imperial sizing. I will make that sample up and put some photos with the tutorial, and I will put them in the Blue Mushroom group probably, because that's sort of where my things all go in the end. So that's the corner fold card, I think it's called. So all the different colours. So there with the lovely and beautiful. This one's with the pears which is on the last chance list in Australia. I'm not sure about the other markets. So there you go, ladies. Let me find my mouse over here and come back to you. You're going to go and make it, Brenda? Excellent, excellent. It's great when you've got, so you wrote all those measurements down? Great. Where am I? Where am I? Here I am. There I am. I'm going to turn this light off because it casts awful shadows. All right, so I'm just having a look at some of the comments. Great. I just realised what the folks is. Very clever, Cheryl. What the folks? What folks? The folks. You'll have to tell me what you're talking about, Wendy. The folks. Oh, fold. Okay. Right. Oh, because you came in a bit late. Yeah. Yeah, it's a corner fold. So now look, if you don't like that idea because it does not stand up on its own, that in itself is a pretty card front. If you just made a card front and didn't have this piece here, but just had the pattern go all the way around and just had a regular opening fold, then that would make a pretty card on its own without doing the fold. But I quite like that because it's just it's so simple and it came together so easily. Just have to remember to fold it forwards and then backwards, and then those little folds just come in together and it's perfect. So there you go. Thank you very much. I am going to go and find some lunch, and I look out for the tutorial. I've got the team class on Saturday, so I'll work on the cards for that so I can get the measurements up for you so you can get your supplies together. And then remember, for the girls that come along to regular class, that's next Tuesday. So let me know if you're coming so that I can prep accordingly. You need to watch the beginning. Yeah, just so you know how to put it together, Wendy. Great way to use your designer series paper. So I've gone through nearly an entire pack of that lovely and beautiful designer series paper. It really is lovely and beautiful, and I have used it a ton. And that's highly unusual for me. I usually have lots left over by the time it retires. So, yeah, it is gorgeous paper. But use what you've got. Pull out what you've got. That's an easy one to use, whatever you have at home. All right, girls. Thank you so much for coming along, and I will catch up with you either on the weekend, on Tuesday, or next Thursday. Got lots of creating coming up. It's fun. Okay, bye for now.